Hello, and welcome to another Steel Division Divisional overview, and today we're taking a look at the 91st Luftlande division. This is technically a paratrooper division, but it's also an infantry division, as you can kindly see. It's a very weird deck, as, well, the best way to explain it is, it's like a burger. You got your top bun, and then you got your bottom bun. And the buns are good, they're good, they're tasty, got a bit of lettuce and tomatoes in there. But you have to rate a rile so you can actually get the actual burger part inside of it. And you see what I mean once we have to get into the units themselves. So if we take a look at the economy, you got 80 points in A, 120 B, and 113 C. A very standard point progression, nothing too crazy here. Slot rise, you got a lot of infantry, a lot of airplanes, and a lot of anti-tank, and a bit of recon too. Everything else is pretty standard. So let's take a look at the unit, shall we? So recon, you got a lot of infantry. You can get the BMWs, but don't take them, they're crap. You got Orkfler and Kubel MG, pretty mediocre. And then you got the Feldjäger guys. You got Feldjäger Spar Troops and Panzer Abwehr. Spar Troops are good because they got 2-star veterancy and pretty good close range weaponry. So fighting other small recon squads, they will come out on top. And you get quite a lot of them per card. Then you got the Panzer Abwehr, which act as a shock infantry unit, because they got 4 submachine guns. They're not your stormtroopers per se, but it's battalion 2 guys. And then you got the Panzer Schreck, and you got a 2-star Panzer Schreck, so you will not miss, and you'll blow up everything, because the Panzer Schreck is not to be trifled with. Really good unit, as you're usually, when fighting against ally players, they always expect a 150 meter range with Panzerfaust. So by having that extra 100 meters makes a huge difference, as you can catch some Shermans, Stuarts, Churchills all off guard and get some rather easy kills. Then you got some Orklayers and some more Fusiliers. That's your regular standard recon into B. Infantry, so the whole burger bun analogy, this is where it starts to come into place. So, you got your cheap top bun, your Ersatztruppen, statistically one of the worst infantry units in game, as disheartened, 8 carbine 98, and a single submachine gun. Nothing to really write home about. And then you got the best infantry unit in game, the Feldjägers, 2-star veterancy, automatic, semi-automatic guns at the reserve, anti-tank weaponry, 2 stars, bloody Airborne. They're really good. Really bloody good. You also got some Feldjäger Furies on A, which are also cool, and you have the Mr. Hero unit bloke, and then some MG34s for some regular machine gun support. But this Feldjäger Ersatztruppen combo is really powerful, because Ersatztruppen can hold their ground rather well. They're essentially just meat shields, but they draw the fire, so the Feldjägers can pretty much kill anything that comes into their range. And Feldjägers are scary. Even though you can only get 8 of them in the entire deck, Feldjägers will beat every single infantry unit from pretty much 400 to 101 meters. So you got quite a long engagement distance. As you may guess, their main weakness is they don't have any true submachine guns. So that 100 meter HE value is only 6, which is not a lot. So fighting enemy stormtroopers or flamethrower troops in forests and towns, you're not going to have a good time. Feldjägers much prefer open field engagements. So you got a very airborne heavy A-phase style loadout. Then you get the B phase, it's more of a regular infantry division. You got Grenadier and Pioneer Furies, it's really just which one tickles your fancy. Then you got Grenadiers, and then Grenadiers or Panzerfaust. They're 5 points more, you get 1 less. I highly recommend you take these over the non-Panzerfaust Grens. Pioneers, always good as ever, do love some Pioneers. And then some Stern Pioneers as well, so very standard infantry loadout. And we get to the tanks. Tanks is abysmal. You got Renault and Hotchkiss tanks. They're both crap. I prefer the Renault, as I'd rather just get a crap unit. Yeah, I know it's crap and it's cheap. Yeah, and a crap unit that's trying to, you know, be a slightly less crap, even though it is kind of on the same crap level as a Renault piece of crap. it's a lot of crap. You also got the Panzer III H, which is a lot less crap, but it's not really great either. B phase gets more hotkeys and more Panzer IIIs. They are command tanks at least, but they don't even have a single star veterancy. So their command radius is small, to say the least. You get a single Stug 3 in G, and then you got some more Stugs throughout C. You don't have much in terms of tank slots, so just skip everything and just get the 3-card Stug 3Gs, as you're gonna need them. Support tab, you don't have much either, but you have a lot of options, and once again, we get to the burger bun analogy, because you got A-phase cue-ball munitions, which don't carry a lot, but hey, it's like a paratrooper division, you know? You got some cheap small cars that you can rip out to resupply some mortars quickly. But yet in B-phase, you have nothing for supply trucks, absolutely nothing. It's only until C where you get Opal Blitz munitions. So you're in a very tricky spot, because you can't just use one card of cue-ball munitions to get you through the entire match. You're going to need 2 cards worth of supply. But if you do this, you only have 2 cards left, and you're going to want some Stews and some IG-18s and some Flammenraffen dudes. So it's a little bit tricky. I mean, you could just get the Opal Blitz and hope that you don't have to resupply anything, or if you're playing a team match, try to mooch some munitions off your friendlies. Or you could do the same with the cue ball munitions and then hopefully just mooch some munitions off your friendlies. It's a tricky situation. You also got Feldjäger Flammenwerfers. Highly recommend them. Well, they're useful because they'll only have a close range infantry apart from your Feldjäger Panzerabwehr. And you want to be using these guys to clear town. The 2-star veterancy, the flamethrower, and don't forget to use smoke. These guys benefit heavily from using smoke as they're all dying very quickly. You got some IG-18s, but they're no 17th SS Panzer Grenadier, so you don't get a lot of them. You don't have many slots either, but they're still really useful. And then you got Stews. You can get A, B, or C phase Stews. They're pretty good anti-infantry bunker busters. Anti-tank, once again, burger bun analogy. Pak 36. Technically the weakest anti-tank gun in game, but it's also the second strongest. And then you got a Pak 40 in A phase. So you got something good and something crap. The Pak 36s can really only deal with very lightly armored units such as Humblers, half-tracks, etc. They have a hard time killing Stuarts with that 5 AP. But the rifle grenade, now 20 AP, pretty much Panzerfaust, Panzerschrank shot. It's powerful, but it only has 300 meter range. And all my time playing Luftlande, I may have been able to get 1 or 2 kills using this. So I wouldn't really expect anything too fancy. But hey, if the situation ever arises and your opponent is an idiot and Russ is a Churchill right in front of your AT gun, yeah, and at least you know you can definitely kill it. You also got Feldjäger Panzerschrecks, which are kind of similar to the Abwehrers as before, but they're not as good, but you can get more of them. And you have much more anti-tank slots to work with. B phase, you got Pak 38s, but yeah, a little bit due into B, not exactly all that great. You can get some mortars, 2s in B, which are definitely worthwhile because it's a mobile anti-tank gun, and you get quite a nice amount of them. C phase, you got Pak 40s, and some more mortar 2s. So anti-tank tab, you don't get any crazy Pak 40s or really many heavily armoured guns, but you got enough to get you by to deal with Shermans and Cromwells alike. Anti-air is a bit pants. You got like 1 Flak 38, or you can get 2 Flak 38 in A phase, but I wouldn't really recommend it as they're not that great, and you only have 4 slots to work with. You can get some more in B, and then finally some 37mm, which are much more worthwhile. But it's not until C phase where AA really kicks into higher gear, as you can get Flak Verkelins in 4 packs, 37mm in 4 packs, and then 88mm, only in packs of 1, but it do have 2-star veterancy. And this is really going to be your heavy anti-tank ground weapon, but it's not your only heavy anti-tank weapon available. And also heavy anti-air, because 2-star Flak 88 will force P-51 Mustangs to fly away very quickly. Artillery is really good. It's really good. So you got 50mm mortars. I wouldn't underestimate these guys. They don't do much HE, but they fire extremely fast. They're not good for killing other mortars or like in the ground, open ground engagements. But inside of a town, using these guys to pin down enemy rifles and stormtrooper squads, so your Tatstroopen can, you know, force a surrender. They're really good in that regard. You also got the FK-39R. I believe this is a ZIS-3 gun, which is a Russian field gun. So, it's a little bit of a taste of the Eastern Front. They're pretty alright. They also act as an anti-tank gun, if you really need an anti-tank gun. And they're not that bad in the anti-tank gun role, surprisingly. So, if you're feeling a bit ballsy, you can, you know, maybe get rid of your PaK-40A and just use these guys. I wouldn't really recommend it, but hey, you got the option. You'd also get a 210mm off-map artillery in A, which is extremely useful if you want to take a town fast without having to, you know, fight much resistance. B phase array kicks into more gear. You got 81mm mortars. You got more of the Russian guns, but you get them at PaK-3, and they do have one still of infantry, which does help out. And then you got another Russian field gun. I've got the name of this one, but it's known as whatever this thing is. It does much more damage, as you can see, much more damage, and it also has 14 AP. It's not as accurate in the anti-tank gun role, but it's pretty heavy duty. Yeah, it only has 1 kilometer range, same with the FK-39, which is a little bit of a downside. But this is a good counter battery piece, and for just wanting to get an enemy unit dead. You also, in C phase, you got some 120mm mortars, more of the Russian guns, and then 380mm railway artillery. And this will devastate everything. If you just want to clear a section of the map, you bring these guys in. And then we get ourselves into the airplanes. You got quite a lot of airplanes, so let's go to it. So Storts, regular recon plane, meh. A phase you can get an ME-109G2, which is really good because the rockets will help neutralize any anti-tank guns or, you know, heavily important units or artillery pieces that you need dead. The main problem with this is it costs 180 points, and you only get 80 points at taking A phase, so you will have to wait 3 minutes to save up for it. And to put in perspective, that's like 33% of the time rated on A phase is just to get one plane. And in A phase, you may get 1, maybe 2 rocket strikes with it. But it works well into B and C because it can act as a pretty decent fighter. Then you got the A phase B3. You also get some more into C phase. These B3s are extremely important to your tank. Probably one of the most important units that you need to effectively use. Because this thing will kill any allied tank pretty easily. You know, it is a bit of a crap shot. I usually find it to be a 50-50. Sometimes I kill the tank, sometimes I don't. But it's a flying anti-tank gun, and you can just pick off Stuarts, Shermans, Crocodiles alike pretty easily. The downside is it will die very easily if the enemy even brings just one fighter plane. So, not the best situation. Also, considering that you don't have much CA in A phase, and this will take you 3 minutes to save up for, it's pretty risky getting out in A phase. Though, if you manage to catch your opponent off guard, you can get a good kill with it. B phase, you got some regular G6, R6, 109s with 1 star of infantry, and then some Focke-Wulf G3s, which have a pretty small payload, only with 50kg bombs, and a 1 star version. You also get more B3s for your anti-tank pleasure, and some Ju-88Ss. And in C phase, you got some Messerschmitt 109s, and then more Ju-88s. So, that's pretty much the look of the deck. So, let's take a look at the deck that I built earlier. As per usual, the deck code will be in the description below. And, this is all personal preference. I'll explain why I picked that I picked. And, yeah. So, let's take a look. So, Recon, we're just using the Feldjäger guys, because I just want the veterancy. Highly recommend you always take 2 cards of the Panzerabwehr, as they're very important anti-tank units in A phase. Infantry, highly recommend, no matter what, you take all the Ersatztruppen, and you take all the Feldjägers. If anything, always try to have that, because That combination is deadly. I got the MG34 in A, and then the Panzerführer, or the Feldjägerführer in A. In the B phase, you got the Grenadiers. I'm actually going to take out some Pioneers and change it regular Pioneers, as they're a bit more useful in the general sense. And this is going to be more of your regular infantry loadout, essentially. A tank tab is very basic. Renault tanks for spam, Panzer IIIs for just some sort of tank in B phase, and I don't just want one Stug. And in C phase we got 3 Stug 3Gs. Your tanks isn't really the important part. The Panzer 35 is really just here to be a machine gun sponge and give some fire support, even though it has 1 HE, but it can kill a half track maybe. Support tab. So my philosophy is I want supply, because we're going to be taking a lot of artillery, so I took both supply cards available. If you're playing a team match and you have a friendly dude who has a lot of supply tracks, you could opt out the Opal Blitz and maybe get something else. And then we got A phase IG-18s as their useful support guns, and in the A phase 242, because 10 armor in A phase is pretty good, and I'd rather much have just run an A phase to help your initial push, and rate to a B where they become a little bit more obsolete. Anti-tank tab, 1 card of Pack 36, 1 card of Pack 40. Yeah, I just like Mortar 2s and Pack 40s into C phase. Pretty standard, not really that much, I will admit, but it's enough to get you by. If you're smart with the Mortar 2s, they will help you out very well in keeping back enemy tanks. Anti-air. I chose just not to get the A phase anti-air because it's just not worth activation point rise. So I took the B phase Flak 36, the C phase Flak Berlin, and then 2 of the 88mm because they're worth their rate in gold. Artillery. A phase got the cheap mortars, as I said before, they're fantastic in a town fight. B phase we've got the ZIS-3 guns, and then C phase heavy duty and the railway artillery. So a really good artillery loadout. You got more than enough to deal with threats, so it's rather weak on the A phase. You can do a pretty good job getting a Flak 13 or an FK 39 in A, as they do a good job at counter-battering enemy units. And the airplane tab, always take both cards of B3s. Always. A phase Messerschmitt 109, it's a fighter and a rocket plane. I take 1 card of Messerschmitt 109B and then 1 into C. B phase got the Fokker C3 just for some cheap bombing, but it's also a decent fighter. And then JU-88 into C, as it does drop some heavy duty bombs. So overall, the pros of this deck is the Ersatztruppen and Feldjäger spam is so bloody good. You see what I mean, Rontry? Take a look at the replay, but Ersatztruppen just draw fire, and they can stay alive under fire pretty well. Just to give you enough time for like IG-18 stews and your Feldjägers to really do the kill, and Feldjägers are great. You have to use them properly, and you see what I mean once you get into the replay. They have a solid all-round income. It's nothing crazy, but you're not really point deficient economy rise throughout the match. The B3 Death Machine is a great anti-tank unit. You know, it is a little bit risky to use. And then Arty Party, you got off-map artillery, you got heavy-duty artillery guns, you got really all the artillery you need. If you take a look at the cons of the deck, I'd say the whole mismatched burger bun analogy does hinder you quite a bit, especially with supply trucks. That's not really good activation point efficiency, I have to say. And it can be a bit weird not having, you know, like a proper, you know, regular infantry unit in A phase, or proper regular tank really, or proper regular anti-tank guns like Pack 38s in A. It's very all over the place. This entire deck is all over the place. You feel it's a bit restrictive, slots and activation point rise. Even though you got 38 activation points, it feels like you could use a little bit more, because you don't have that much in terms of unit numbers. You have what you need, but you don't have anything just a little bit extra to, you know, keep you alive if you were to lose more units than you expect. you're very heavily reliant on air power to win. Using air power to win matches is one of the harder ways to win a match. The problem with air power is, yes, the B3 can come in and kill a tank, but then it's array for 3 to 5 minutes repairing, rearming. While if you were just to buy, you know, like a Stuke 4 or a Sherman or a 76mm gun, it can kill a tank, but it doesn't have to run array for 5 minutes. It can stay on the battlefield and have a battlefield presence. Always, with the planes, you have to be very smart in when to use them and what you're going to target with them, as they do have usually long repair and rearm times, especially once they get damaged. And also, this is a rather advanced deck. I don't want to say this is, you know, you've got to be a MLG 420 No Scope Pro to play Luftlande, but I wouldn't recommend this to a new player, as you don't really have solid core units. You got the good and then you got the bad, but you have nothing in between. And trying to use the whole that's true from Feldjäger spam and being heavy reliant on air power are a bit more tougher than, let's say, just having solid Panzer Grenadier Panther play some other German divisions have. But it's not a very good deck overall. This is really top tier. I'd put this in at least a top 5 in terms of divisions. And with all the rambling out of the way, let's take a look at how they actually perform in a match. And we are back, and we are doing a 1v1 on Point du Hook. On the blue side, we have Player and the 6th Airborne, and on our side, we have Romul, demonstrating the 91st Luftlande division. Take a look at Romul's deck. He still has the 2 B3s and the SS Troop and Feldjägers. His anti-tank tab is much larger because he decided to take less airplanes. And a little bit changes here and there, using all players instead of another card of Feldjäger Abras, Panzer Shreks for the anti-tank. A little lighter on the artillery, but it does get the 210mm right off the bat. And yeah, it's a pretty solid deck. I would recommend this deck for 1v1 compared to my deck, as my deck is a bit more focused around team games. But yeah, let's take a look at how Romul approaches his match. So he's got the crappy Renault going down the mid, a little bit on the right hand side, but everything going right towards the left. And you've got the Stu-42 on left, the cheap mortar, just some regular sets, and probably the leader, and maybe a Feldjäger Spar Troop or Panzer Abra. So we're going to speed things up and get things going. But you notice that he isn't deploying too many Feldjägers, because the thing of Feldjägers is you don't want to have a lot of them on the field at one time. Preferably, you want to have 2 to 3 Feldjägers on the field. Because how you should use the Feldjägers and Ersatztruppen is you have the Feldjägers kind of be like the support reserve to plug in any gaps when an attack happens, and the Ersatztruppen are just to be spread out along the front line to slow down the enemy for the Feldjägers to come in and reinforce. Take a look at that position, very heavy on this left-hand side, while much more defensive on the right. Not even going to be trying to go for that middle town, just going to be using pretty much the cover of this forest area here to hold his area. Fortunately, there's no real heavy tanks he has to worry about, so his Pack 36s are going to go through Tetrarchs very easily. There's no Tetrarchs to worry about. Well, Player, a bit more heavier on the right hand side, and it's going to be infantry and infantry engagements. And for Romul, Feldjägers will beat the British infantry hands down at long range, even though the British infantry do have 2-star veteranry and you can get more of those 2-star veterans. But Feldjägers are just absolute terminators in terms of open ground engagements. So you've got deployment on the right hand side, some Ersatztruppen, Feldjägers mid, and the Ersatztruppen leading the way as the Feldjägers follow behind. And as you can see, we've got like 2-3 Feldjägers on the field, which is pretty standard. I'd recommend getting 3 at the start of a match. You know, got 1 for every flank. So the Ersatztruppen are going to be crossing his hedgerow shortly, And there are some auction bugs on the other side. And really, if they die, it doesn't matter at 10 points. I mean, to put it in perspective, you can buy a whole pack, or like 8 pack worth of ersatz trooping in one tick. So they're very easy to rebuy. Now, funnily enough, the 6th Airborne player does decide to get a recon plane. And it is going to work pretty well for him, as he is on the spot pretty much all the positions that Romul has. And unfortunately for Romul, he can't do much about it. He has an 8-phase B3, and that's it when it comes to anti-air. So his recon plane is going to have complete dominance of the skies. And that's not going to be good, because Romul can't exactly sneak anything around. And that is the problem with Fountshakers, or not Fountshakers, 91st Luftlande. Is your AA is pretty abysmal during A phase. Even if he was to have the Messerschmitt, I mean, that's going to be a 3-minute rate before he can shoot down our recon plane. The SS Trooping are holding their ground, and the mortar, as you can see, slowly pounding away, forcing the Ux and Bucks troop to retreat, and the Stu is going to be taking some pots just at 6-pounder. We've got Tetrarch CS on left, so it's not going to do too much, as the Stu can force it away. And on the right hand side, just defensive. You got the Foutshaker Furies here. They're holding their own pretty well against the Airborne Scouts, and that is because of the FG-42s. You're, feels like you could use maybe an MG-34 on that right hand side. But he's pretty much spending all his resources to attack on left. So that's trooping, getting even more of them. And then once he was to cross the Fountshakers into the hedgerow, he can start annihilating player's infantry. For player, if he gets in close, he'll eat up the Fountshakers for breakfast. Good use of mortar and Stu. The Stu's Princess covering the resupply route here. I also got some Pathfinders behind. A little bit, doesn't exactly need them yet because you already got the recon plane, but it's a good thing to have. Maybe you can ambush an enemy tank. Yeah, I doubt it because it is just gammon bombs. And this is what I mean, Fountshakers versus Bren Group. As you see, the Fountshakers getting many more hits on the Bren Group, going to be forcing him to retreat. That's going to force player to get an artillery piece, probably to counter battery the 50mm, and try to deal with the Founshaker. He's going to get another Founshaker to try and clear up his middle section here, as he's already got a bit of a penetration, and another Panzer 35 just for Panzer 35 purposes. The other Foutshaker Furies are going to hold on, and his Founshaker is going to be coming in. And if he can get in, he's going to get in just close enough, or far enough, to shoot the AAB powers with his machine gun. The AAB powers are going to be getting closer. And I'll see Founshaker Furies, they hold their own really well. And as you can see, completely stuns up the AAB powers in no time. And forces her surrender. That's Barrow Fountshakers, ladies and gentlemen. And yes, as you see, just the ersatz troopers, they're taking fire, but because they're taking fire, they're exposing players' infantry to get mortared. The mortar can't do anything right now because it's low in ammo and it's getting counter batteried. And look here, it's the Pathfinder unit is kind of in between a rock and a hard place. Using smoke to retreat a little bit, but if anything, I'd charge up right now with the Pathfinders and try to get the kill on the Fountshakers with their submachine guns. But no, he's just going to be hiding behind the smoke. And then Romul moving a little bit up, getting some ersatz trooping to try and just move up through this middle area, try and clear it out. And finally, the All-Star 2 has to retreat because it's out of fuel. But Tetrarch CS here on standby, as the Stu did get killed by that 6-pounder. Unfortunately, he can get another Stu if he so desires, but it seems like he's getting that Panther 35 to cover the middle. And here's what I mean, AB powers, they're going to get him very close. 100 meters. Completely kills the Founshaker Fury, and it was the hero dude as well. And the Fountshakers are very smartly going to be retreating because you do not want to be engaged in AB powers at close range. And because he has no anti-tank guns here, this Tetrarch is going to have a field day. The Fountshakers aren't close enough to get a Panzerfaust shot, and there's nothing exactly here. not even a Pack 36. The Pack 36 on the right hand side, if you can get a shot on that Tetrarch, he will very easily kill it. And the Valjager Furies trying to get close on the AB scouts, but I think the Tetrarch is going to kill them. And really an MG34 would have helped out on the right hand side, Joe. He doesn't have an MG34 in his deck. And I would recommend you at least take an MG34, because you don't really have any, you don't have half tracks to substitute as an infantry machine gun. I mean, Valchagers kind of do, but they only have 400 meters, and having that 800 meter machine gun, especially in open fields, helps out a bunch. Each your own. Just as long as you have the Ersatztruppen and Valchagers, that's what really matters. And they're pretty standard all around. Speed this up a little bit. Once we get into B phase, well, both sides benefit greatly in B phase, but the main thing for Romul is he can easily out-infantry player, as 6 Airborne is very lackluster when it comes to infantry numbers. And once you get later on in the game, those AB brain groups and AB powers and Orcs and Bucks are pretty much all going to die, and he's going to have nothing to replace him. And if Romul can keep his Valchagers alive and tidy of match, and as you can see, he's been very I'm trying to careful with his Valchagers. He hasn't been charging them into, deathly situations. He's keeping them back. He's only lost a few numbers per Valchagers, but he's keeping them alive, and you want to try and keep them alive. And this is what I mean by the Ersatztruppen Valchager spam. The Ersatztruppen take all the fire, and the Valchagers can easily return fire without worrying being shot at. And as you can see, AB powers here, completely pinned down Valchager and mortar combo. And this type of engagement is perfect for Valchagers. It's not too open, but it's not too tight. It's just right for infantry play. The Tetrarch is going to be coming around, and there's no anti-tank to really speak of. The Pack 36 is finally over on the left. It's a little bit too late. You do have another one over here. It's nowhere nearby to deal with the Tetrarch. AB power is going to be getting close, going to try and kill the Ersatztruppen, but even though the Ersatztruppen are, not that great, they still haven't taken any casualties, since they can hold out rather well. And look at this Valchager dude pretty much penetrating behind enemy lines. I'm wondering if he can see their mortars. He can barely see them. He can't do anything about it until I hit B phase, where he can buy some heavy artillery of his own, or maybe some more planes. His airplane loadout is essentially just fighters and then B3s. The B3s aren't going to be entirely useful, as this is a 6 Airborne. Their heaviest armor tank is 7 armor. And there's not really many vehicles that you have to deal with against 6 Airborne. It's all squishy infantry. AB power is going to be getting close, and finally getting our kills and our surrenders on the Ersatztruppen. And we got another Valchager squad going in right, so that makes it 5 out of 8 Valchagers already. And he's been keeping them alive, which is also important. I think his run in the middle is about to go down, unless he can retreat it. The AB snipers being an excellent counter to Valchagers, as they pin down the Valchagers faster than the Valchagers and usually pin down the sniper. And also the extra range. But it's the artillery gun, this free counter battering the mortars or howitzers back here. And the main thing is Romul, that very nice plus 1 point advantage. He's pretty much putting all his pressure on the left hand side. I think he's going to need a bit more artillery strikes to try and clear things up. But on the right, he's holding pretty well, not being too offensive, just pretty much a Renault, a Valchager, and a Pack 36 holding this flank, who doesn't really need much else. And we find you have a Cromwell being brought up onto the left, and that's going to be a bit of a tricky situation, as the Pack 36 can't exactly kill it, and the Stu can't really kill it either. The other also finally does go down to a Messerschmitt 109. As once you get into B phase, he does get more anti-air, or actually some anti-air, and proper airplanes. And the Ersatztruppen in numbers, spotting the AB powers and Orcs and Bucks, forcing them to retreat. And too bad doesn't have a Pack 40 or really anything over here to deal with that Cromwell, even a mortar too would help out quite a bit. But player is pretty heavily entrenched in this like little town forest area. It's going to take a little bit more for Romul to try and clear it out. Romul silently sending some pioneers to try and deal with the infantry inside of this gap, as the Fouchakers now behind enemy lines, but fortunately they're Fouchakers. They don't get any negatives from being behind enemy lines. We also have a Tetrarch John, which is trying to go for the Stu 42, same with the Cromwell, and I think I'm probably going to get the kill. Unless the Stu can... yeah, the Stu's going to be able to outmaneuver it. And the Pack 36 can return some fire. The best they can do is scare the Cromwell. And does fire fast enough to scare it pretty quickly. But it's not going to get the kill. And it's probably going to get moraled up before the Cromwell. And the Cromwell is actually just going to be pulling back from the engagement. Even though he could have run it. And things aren't looking so good now. We've got the Tetrarch and AB powers making quite a bit of breakthrough. And this is the wrong problem with 91st Luftlande. They don't have much in terms of anti-tank, or Romul is really neglecting it. But you also got to realise, this anti-tank options is like some mortar freeze, which ain't going to be too good in this close range engagement. You could get a Panther 35 Renault, but those things are slow and not that great if you don't have them on a road. You could get stuck, but it's I mean, it's just not that great, the anti-tank. Unless you got an anti-artillery gun nearby, you know, he's not going to be able to get the shot off. And he's going to be bringing infantry to try and deal with this situation, but that's not going to be enough. And he doesn't have another Pack 36 that he could spare to try and deal with his Tetrarch. Yeah, he's bringing up a Panther 35. Yeah, that's going to take forever to get to the front line. He has no, grenadiers with Panzerfaust, no Panzerschreck units nearby to deal with his Tetrarch. A little bit of a misjudge there. Yo, Romul is still gaining that plus 1 point advantage. It's doing a Ju-88 bombing run, it seems, back here, trying to kill the Howitzer. And the Fouchakers finally get spotted. They're getting completely gunned down by snipers and machine guns. And he does lose the artillery unit to the Tetrarch. We've got another Tetrarch and another Tetrarch penetrating through the center here. And the Pioneers maybe could kill it with their big ass grenades. If they can actually hit. I want to see it real fast, because it only has 3 armor. No, it doesn't really do much. Never mind. Tetrarch going to be falling back. And the Brits just, they're using armor. And that's exactly what 6 Airborne players should be using, as that is one main advantage. Because Romul, he could also get a B3. He has a lot of anti-tank options, but it's hard to deal with an amassed tank force. Especially when you've got like 3 Tetrarchs all over together, especially with artillery support covering him too. Because a lot of your anti-tank options are very soft. And I think that's really what I'm trying to explain here with the Luftlande, is all your anti-tank can be countered by some good old artillery. I mean, you can't get like a heavy tank yourself, or heck, you can get like 1 Stug, and that's really it. For B at least. But the main thing, Romul's still holding plus 1 point advantage, so he is still winning the match, and he's keeping most of his Fouchakers alive still. And he has a lot of Pioneers to really deal with any enemy threats. You do have a B3 flying around. It is going to be forced to retreat. Fortunately, it does have a 109 to cover the B3's retreat as a Tempest tries to get the kill. And he does get away, which is rather lucky. Yo, Tempest is probably going to be able to escape, as it's much faster in the Messerschmitt. I don't exactly think his Panther 35 is going to have a good chance against his Tetrarch John, but never mind. Pioneers got the kill. Finally, that's cool. The right hand side is slowly moving up now. Got the Renault. It's just, as you can see, It's not great, but at least it's machine gun proof and it can provide some fire support. He's also got a Mortar 2, backing him up for some long range anti-tank. But you see, it's Ron Cromwell back here is completely shutting off any advancements. We got Stu 42 moving from the left into the middle to try and deal with this blow. But the problem is now for player is that he's going to be starting to go really running low on infantry. He's now used an Assault Pioneers and Air Landings, which aren't exactly great. And Romul, smart, still has his Feldjägers alive. And against Air Landings, it's just going to be a very easy kill. And Jerry 88, he does drop the bombs. Not hitting the well, hardly hitting the Cromwell enough to stun up a little bit, but not enough to force the fallback. We've just got a Challenger to try and challenge this Mortar 2. It was a pretty even fight as they're both unvetted. And, yeah. The Feldjägers, he's going to be able to make a breakthrough over here with them. And we've got the Earthsats trooping rushing through. And as you can see, you got 24 Earthsats trooping for the match. And that's not your only infantry. You got Pioneers and Feldjägers as well. So you got a lot of infantry for 91st Luftlande. And as you see, this Earthsats trooping spam, it works. And that's what makes the bloody Luftlande deck really effective. Is that you can just wear down your opponent of Earthsats troopers, so the rest of your units, even though you don't have a lot of the rest of the units, you have enough to get the kills and finally beat up the opponent forces. And look, again, machine gun down, they're still alive, they're holding their ground pretty well for just 10 points. You do have one final desperate rush over here from player. You know, it's more of an infantry rush instead of a tank rush. No, that's actually more of a resupply, my bad. I think it's just some air landings coming in to resupply the mid, or reinforce the mid. But air landings are crap to say the least, so not going to be able to do too much. B3 flying around. And when there's anti-air in the field, the B3 does not perform as well. That's what I mean by air power can be a rather tough thing to use to take the advantage. You know, surprisingly, Romul hadn't had to use that much air power to run. He has been using it, mind you, with the Ju-88 runs and the Messerschmitts trying to shoot down the recon planes and Tempests, but it hasn't been the main reason he's been winning. Against a more armoured division, such as like Scots, 3rd Armoured, 4th Armoured, etc., you really need the air power, as those B3s are one of the most effective ways to deal with heavily armoured tanks. But you see, slowly just hitting away enemy forces. Mostly Pathfinder. Not going to be able to drop anything on, not finding any good targets to drop on. And the Romul, slow plus 1 point advantage. He's going to be taking the victory. And as you can see, that's how Troop and Feldjägers. Good combination. That's how you play Luftlande for dummies. And yeah, he's going to be able to break through. And really, that's just a battle of attrition. And that's usually how it goes against 6 Airborne. It's a battle of attrition, and he had the early game initiative, which helps out quite a bit against the first. If we look at the kills, he lost quite a bit early on, but it's Earthsats trooping. It doesn't really matter. He did lose one Feldjäger off the bat, so he did lose one early on. I did not catch that, so that is my bad. But he doesn't lose a second actual Feldjäger until 20 minutes into the match. So he was pretty efficient with keeping them alive. And that's one of the important things for 91st Luftlande, is keeping the Feldjägers alive. And we're going to see right in a minute, because they got some pretty decent kills overall. Knocking out Bren groups and the like. But as you can see, the Su-42, Messerschmitt 109, helping out quite a bit, shooting down a lot of Tempests and Typhoons. But so yeah, Luftlande, it's an odd deck. It's a really good deck. You just have to get into the mood, into rhythm, into a mojo, as it's it's different in how you'd regularly play. As the burger analogy, you got some kind of crap stuff, some very good stuff, but not much in between. Once again, deck codes from below. I'd use my one for a team-based match, and I'd use the one that you just saw here from Romul in a 1v1 style match. And I'm going to leave it off at that. It's been another Steel Divisional overview. I hope you guys found this video helpful, and as usual, please just take it easy.